Appears to be a modification you filed back in June.
Yes, Your Honor.
Call you first witness.
The state will call Miss Berry. Miss Berry, what is your full name?
Erica,
And what are the names of the children before the court today?
Gianni, and Jameer.
And what's Gianni's date of birth?
2003.
And he's already graduated high school and everything, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And what is Jameer's date of birth?
2005.
And he turns 18 in August?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is he a senior in high school?
Yes, ma'am.
When does he graduate?
May.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How is Jameer covered with health insurance?
His father currently has Blue Cross Blue Shield on him.
Is that through dad's employer, do you recall?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was there a prior order that was done approximately December of 2016? Does that sound about right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Your Honor, the court would ask to take the state would ask the court to take judicial notice of the court's file, specifically the order that was entered December 18th, 2016.
The court will take judicial notice of its own file.
Okay. And Mom, do you recall in that order, did it set medical support at about $25?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And it set child support at $292. Does that sound about right?
I'm really not sure, but I got like $100 and something since we've been separated. I got like $146. I'm not sure if it was once a month, but whatever the order was, I wasn't able to receive it because at that point he was on disability or something. Something was going on.
Do you know if Dad has any other children other than the two children before the court?
Yes, ma'am, he does. He has one other child.
One other child. Do you know if that child is a minor or an adult?
Yes, she's a minor.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Call you next witness.
The state would call Mr. Pettigrew. Does that sound about right that there was an order done in 2016?
I guess it's hard to keep up with this. I've been dealing with it for so long, but if you say so, if it's on the record, then I'm sure it is.
Do you currently work?
Yes, ma'am. I'm out of town right now working.
Where do you work?
Suncoast Resources.
Sunco Resources. And how long have you been there?
Approximately a year and a half.
And how much do you make?
A year or bi-weekly, an hour, what?
Do you get a salary or is it an hourly wage?
Hourly wage.
Okay, and how much do you get paid hourly?
$16.
And how many hours do you normally work a week?
Between 80 to 140.
I'm sorry, a week?
Every 2 weeks. I mean, yeah, I'm every 2 weeks. I mean, I'm on a 2-week pay schedule, so it's like anywhere between 80 and 140 hours every 2 weeks. So break that down.
Okay. And have you filed your taxes for 2022 yet?
2020, yeah, I did.
Okay. Do you recall what your gross amount was that you made last year?
I don't.
Okay. And do you have health insurance for Jameer through your employer?
Yes, I do. Through my job, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay. And do you recall how much that costs for the health insurance?
I don't.
Okay. You have no idea how much comes out of your paycheck every 2 weeks?
I do, but I don't keep up with it. There's so much money that comes out of my check. I drive myself crazy trying to keep up with it. I just pay it like the child support.
Okay. And the health insurance coverage that you covered, how many people do you cover?
Both my sons and my daughter.
And is that
and
covered?
myself.
Okay. So you cover 4 people on your health insurance. And do you cover dental for you and your other and all three children?
Dental, vision, and medical, yes.
Further questions, Your Honor?
Call your next witness.
The state would call Ms. Swallow. Okay, and where do you currently work?
With the Office of Attorney General, Child Support Division,
And how long have you been working with them?
29 years.
Okay, and what are part of your duties as a child support officer?
Verifying income.
Okay, and did you find any income information as it relates to Mr. Pettigrew?
Yes, I did.
And did you find information for all 4 quarters of 2022?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and can you let me know how much it was for each quarter?
Sure. For the fourth quarter of 2022, it was $17,928. The third quarter, $21,126. The second quarter, $18,467. And the first quarter, $14,504.
Do you recall how much that is total?
$72,061.
Do you know how much that is monthly?
Yes, that would be $6,005 monthly. $6,005.
And probably a little too early, but was there anything showing for 2023?
No, there was not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Call your next witness.
No further witnesses, Your Honor. The state room.
So let me see if I can get some clarification. Are you there, Miss Berry?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right. So originally on this case, Miss Berry, I had 2 children, right? Gianni and Jameer, but Gianni's graduated. So Jameer is the only child that you have with Mr. Pettigrew now that's still underage, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And Jameer is going to graduate in May, but he's not going to turn 18 till August. Is that also correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
But is he going to graduate? Jameer's going to graduate 2023?
Yeah, well, yes, sir. This
Okay.
year.
But he doesn't turn 18 until August.
Correct. Yes, sir.
So he's a hard worker.
Mhm.
All right. That's good.
Oh.
That's good.
Both of my boys graduate early. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I mean, part of that's their date of birth, but I mean, they're
Mhm.
still, they still got to work hard because they're a little younger than everybody else. So they got hard work to do. Okay. Mr. Pettigrew, did you tell me that you had, obviously Johnny is your son, but he's emancipated. He's graduated. So
Yes.
I still have Jameer before me, and you said you have one other dependent that you're financially responsible for.
Yes, sir.
All right. How old is that child?
She's 4. She'll be 5 next this
All
month
right,
on the
so you
24th.
still got a young one. All right. Is that child living with you? Or are you paying child
Yes.
support for that child?
She lives with me.
She lives with you. All right. When you're not on the road working.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Miss Berry, do you have any comments or questions about this case before I make a ruling?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, I know Gianni is over 8.
You muted yourself accidentally, Miss Berry.
And so even before
Miss
Gianni,
Berry, you muted yourself, Miss Berry, so I didn't hear what you said.
I'm sorry.
It's
Am
okay.
I still muted?
No,
Well,
you're good. Go ahead.
we just been going back and forth with the child support thing because before he started working, he was a barber. So there was no way to accurately track his income. So even before Gianni turned 18, I've been going back and forth since we separated, trying to get child support paid to me. They told me I was going to have to hire a private attorney to put a device in his chair, which I couldn't afford to do.
Right.
It's just been so much. And I've always gotten $100 and something because he was
Right.
on disability, but the whole time he was working, and it's not fair.
I can't help you, Miss Berry. I can't. The law doesn't allow me to go back in time and try to make adjustments.
No, I don't want to go back. I just want it accurately done from the time that he started working.
I can't do that either.
So
I can't go back in time for all of last year when he was working and set child support. The state didn't file the lawsuit, ma'am, until the middle of last year. and they didn't actually serve Mr. Pettigrew with the lawsuit until the first part of this year. So, I mean, I can't even increase the child support before the date of service on this case.
Okay, so this hearing is to do what exactly? Because he's doing what he's supposed to do as of now.
Right.
We
Well,
don't have
I'm
any
gonna set child support against Mr. Pettigrew for what he's making
okay.
from the date that he was served.
Okay. I wasn't clear on why we were having this hearing, because I didn't ask for a raise, but he is doing what he's supposed to do now. So I don't have any problems.
Okay. Mr. Pettigrew, do you have any questions or comments about this case before I make a ruling?
No, I'm just ready to go to bed. I work nights.
I'm sorry. The court's going to find the court has jurisdiction on this case. The court's going to find that based on the testimony of the parties, there definitely has been a material substantial change in circumstance. Child support in this case is going to be ordered accordingly. Mr. Pettigrew is ordered to maintain the health insurance on the children that he currently has on the children. His child support is going to be increased to $820 per month, effective May the 1st of 2023, and every month thereafter until the child emancipates. Court cost by Mr. Pettigrew, but he's got till October 31st of 2023 to pay my court cost. Ms. Alexander, does that take care of all the terms and conditions in this court order?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Berry, Mr. Pettigrew, what's going to happen now is the state's going to send me a court order. As long as it matches what I said here today, I'm going to sign it and get it back to them. Ms. Overstreet, this is your case. Send it to each of them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Call your first witness.
Thank you. I'd like to call Ms. Walker. Can you state your name?
Chandra Michelle Walker.
And you are the mother of Azaria.
Yes, ma'am.
And back in 2018, the court entered an order that Mr. Kim would not pay you any child support or medical reimbursement because you and Mr. Kim were living together at the time. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you and Mr. Kim are no longer living together. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so we're here today to ask the court to modify that prior order and order some child support. So the child is living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And now how is the child currently covered for medical insurance?
She's been on my insurance.
Okay. And how long has she been on your insurance?
Since 2017.
And how much now you have her on medical insurance? Do you also have her on dental insurance?
I have her on medical, dental, and vision. I can go back to my check to give you the amount that comes out bi-weekly.
Okay. Now I need to know how much it cost you to cover her right now. I'm just asking about the medical support. How much does that cost you bi-weekly?
$141.72.
And how many people are covered by that insurance?
Me in this area.
And how much would it be if you know if it was just covering you?
I don't even know. I would have to go through my employee stuff. It's around, I want to say maybe about $20, $30 difference.
Okay. Now how much do you pay for the dental insurance?
For the dental, I pay $19.50, but I know whenever we when I had the first meeting, we I guess divided that because my son has also been added to my dental.
Okay, so there's 3 people on the dental.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just because and I don't do well on the record. Now, so but your son is not on the medical, just on the dental?
He's only on dental.
Okay, and so do you know how much it would cost for the dental if it was just you?
Oh, it would actually be more.
Oh, okay, so it's just the two of them on the dental.
It's just them and myself.
Okay. If you do you know
Because
it would be more just to cover you?
With the dental, yes, because
Okay,
how they have it set up is totally different through Cigna. And it
Okay.
would be not like a PPO, you're doing everything up front.
okay, okay. Now, do you have any personal information about what Mr. Kim, how much he makes or where he works, or would he be the best person to ask that?
I'm sorry. Let me walk out of my bed. Jeez. I mean, he would be the best person, but
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I
Do you
was
have
looking
any,
at from the order.
I'm sorry, what was that last thing you said?
I saw I guess the order that we actually got.
Okay, but you don't have any personal information.
No,
Okay, and do you know whether or not he has any other children besides the child y'all have together under the age of 18?
no, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Your Honor, I have nothing further of this witness. I'd like to call, pass this witness and call Mr. Kim. And, who do you work for?
EPD, electronic power design,
And, are you paid by the hour or salary?
by the hour,
And how much do you make an hour?
$18 an hour,
And, how many hours a week do you typically work?
40.
And do you have any other children under the age of 18?
No, ma'am.
And, do you have medical insurance available for the child through your employer?
I have insurance, but I don't have a Zeri on it because she had her on it. So I had her on my dental and my vision.
Okay. Do you know how much it costs you right now that you have her on the dental? How much is that?
I have to go into my paychecks, but I'm scared to do it because I don't know if they'll hang this Zoom call up. I mean, I could try to go look into it.
Okay. And do you know how much it would cost to add her to the health insurance at your job?
No, I don't. But I know it'll be cheaper than $170 some every 2 weeks.
But you can't tell the court right now what it would cost.
I mean, I could go try and look, but I don't know if it's going to hang up the phone or what. And I don't want to drop this call.
Okay. And you don't have any, you said you're paying the dental, but you don't have any estimate of what it's costing you per paycheck?
I think the dental, I think the vision's probably like $12, $13, and the dental is probably like $50 or $60.
Okay, and is it the dental's $50 or $60 a month?
Every bi-weekly, every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. Okay. And how many people are on that?
It's just me and her.
Okay.
Me and Azaria.
All right. Your Honor, I have nothing further of this witness. I have no further witnesses.
Mr. Kim, how much did you say that you make an hour?
$18 an hour.
You work 40 hours a week?
Yes, sir.
So what's wrong with the AG's calculations, Mr. Kim? They're spot on.
Say that again.
I'm trying to figure out why the AG calculations in this proposed court order are spot on. They show you make $3,100 a month. That's what you just told me you make. They said that they're asking you to pay half of the health insurance that the mother's carrying on the child at this time. That's $123 a month. And they're asking.
No, they told me they're going to add another extra 100 and whatever she told me, that whatever she said that she's paying every 2 weeks, that they were going to charge me that. And I said it'll be cheaper if I just put it on my insurance.
You're only responsible for half of it, Mr. Kim, because the mother's the other half of it. You don't have to pay the mom's health insurance, just the daughter's.
Well, that's what I asked, and they didn't. That's what they told me, that I would have to pay the 100.
Well, let me just tell you, Mr. Kim, that the court order, the proposed order that I've been sent, says that your health insurance cost would be $123 per month. That's half of what the mother pays every month. And your dental insurance is actually a third, because they're only charging you for one person on the plan and not the other two. So that's $13 a month. You don't agree to that 123 plus the 13?
Yeah, I mean, if that's, I mean, you explained it better than how they did it. But if that's all I'm gonna pay, yeah.
Well, there's a real reason for that, Mr. Kim. I'm real good at explaining stuff because I just throw it out there for you to hear the numbers. There's no explanation. I just tell you that's what the numbers are. All right.
Okay.
And they just base your child support on your income. So, all right. So we don't have a problem with the insurance now. We don't have a problem with the child support, Mr. Kim.
I mean, do I still need to put her on my insurance, or does she
No.
stay on her?
No, she'll stay on Miss Walker's health insurance. Your health insurance is going to be a lot more expensive, and Miss Walker's got more people on her plan than you do.
Okay.
Man, I mean, why would I order both of y'all to carry health insurance on two different families when I only need one plan for the child?
Right.
And then Miss Walker's got multiple children on hers, even though one of her kids may be aged out, he's still taking advantage of that plan because of his age. I can't deny that young adult the opportunity to keep his health insurance while he might be going to school or college. Now that wouldn't.
Okay.
And I doubt, Mr. Kim, seriously, that your health insurance is going to be less than $123 a month. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be about $250 or $270.
Right.
All right. Anything further on this case, Ms. Overstreet?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Walker, can you unmute for me?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Walker, do you have any questions on this case before I make a ruling?
So just to clarify, we're just gonna backdate it to February.
Well, that's what the court order says to me.
Okay.
I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. When was it filed, Miss?
I actually reapplied because I didn't know it was gonna be a modification on June the 28th of 2022.
Oh, I
didn't find out.
Yeah, Miss Walker, I can't go back in time and set child support. I'm not allowed to do that. The law specifically prohibits me from retroactively modifying child support.
Okay. So even though we had the hearing in November, from when I had
Miss Walker, you didn't have a hearing in November. You had a hearing on April the 6th of 2023. That's when you had the hearing. You might have had a meeting with the AG's office,
right?
But I'm the court, and those hearings are held before me. And I don't have any record of having a hearing with you and Mr. Kim back in November, December, January, or February.
Okay.
Okay.
So, well, just to clarify, from the meeting, I was actually told that it would be December. I understand you say that it wouldn't go back. That's fine. No worries, because I don't have
that's one of the things that happens, Miss Walker, when you people that are not attorneys shouldn't always be telling you what's going to happen or not going to happen in the case. And I'm not saying the AG's office did that. I'm just saying, don't ever listen to things that people that ain't lawyers or judges tell you about what's going to happen in court. Because generally speaking, only lawyers and judges know.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Anything further in this case, Miss Overstreet?
No, Your Honor.
And I'm going to sign the proposed order that's been sent. Mr. Kim, Miss Walker, what's going to happen now is the state's going to send me this order. If it matches what this order is, it's on file with the court. I'm going to sign it, get it back to them, and then they're going to mail a copy of it to all of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And I'm glad we were able to get the confusion knocked out and get that squared away, and we get that taken care of in the very near future.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, when does the support actually start?
Now. It went into when it's already in effect. So it went into effect as whatever the order says it was when it's supposed to start. That's when it's going to start.
Okay. But the payments won't come until
they probably reach out with an administrative income withholding order and send that to Mr. Kim's employer and start drawing it out of his check.
Okay.
Mr. Richard Mayfield, would you raise your right hand and tell me that your hand is in the air?
My hand is in the air.
Mr. Mayfield, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Ms. Alexander, does the state have any other witnesses besides the parties?
No, Your Honor.
Call your first witness.
First, before we begin, your judge, this was a motion to enforce child support and confirm the arrears and modify. The state is going to non-suit its request for contempt and just move forward on a confirmation of arrears and modification of child support.
Okay.
Thank you. The state would call Miss Richards. And what are the names of the children before the court?
Olivia, Chanel, and Trinisha.
Okay, and was there a prior order that was entered probably back in 2011 as it relates to the children? Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, and in that prior order, it set child support and medical support that dad was supposed to pay starting November 11th, 2011. Does that sound about right?
It should be about right.
Okay. Was the medical support set at $25 and child support set at $509?
I'm unaware of the exact amount.
Okay. Your Honor, that the state would ask the court to take judicial notice of the prior order that was entered November 3rd, 2011, and that there was a divorce that was entered, but it kept the terms of the prior order in to remain in full force and effect.
Or to pay judicial notice of its own file.
Mom, how are the children covered with health insurance?
Medicaid, previously.
Previously, what are they currently on? Are they still on?
Medicaid.
So they're still on government assistance, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if dad is working at all?
I'm unaware.
Okay. Do you know if he has any other children other than Aaliyah and Trenton?
I wouldn't know that information.
No further questions. Oh, I apologize, Your Honor. So, Mom, it shows that dad still owes a significant amount of arrears. Your Honor, I would ask the state to enter, I would ask the court to enter the state's exhibit, the pay record in this case.
Ms. Richards, I've just placed on the screen a copy of the alleged pay record showing what Mr. Mayfield has paid you and what he has missed. Is it okay if I look at this pay record?
Sure. Yes.
Same question, Mr. Mayfield. Is it okay if I look at your pay record?
Yes.
State's Exhibit A is admitted into evidence.
Okay, Mom, I know you probably can't see this, but as of March 31st, 2023, it shows that dad owes $20,551.58. Are you asking the court to find an arrears judgment in that amount for the child support as of that date?
I'm guessing yes, if that's what's owed.
Okay. And in cash medical support, it's showing that he owes $784.84. Are you asking the court to find a judgment in that amount for the medical support as of March 31st, 2023?
To my knowledge and yours, it should be correct as well.
Okay. And are you asking the court to set an amount that he should pay monthly towards those child support arrears and an amount monthly that he should pay towards the medical support arrears?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Call your next witness.
And the state would call Mr. Mayfield. Okay. And does it sound about right that that prior order that set the child support and the medical support was done in approximately 2011?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Are you currently working right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where do you work?
I work for Shark Trucking.
Shark Trucking?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And how long you been there?
I've been here about 4 months now.
Okay. And how much do you make there?
I don't get paid by the hour. I make 20% of every load that I do.
Okay. And how much are you? How many loads do you normally do a week?
Between 2 and 3, and it averages about $800 a week.
Okay, so average 800. Is that 800 gross or before or after taxes?
That's before taxes.
Okay. And where did you work before that?
I was at Green Path Logistics.
Green Path Logistics?
Yes.
Okay. And how long were you there?
I was there for probably 6 months before I got laid off.
Okay. And how much did you make there?
It was $23 an hour.
$3 an hour. And how many hours did you normally work a week?
Average about 45 hours a week.
And where did you work prior to Green Path, if you can recall?
I was actually laid off at the time.
So you were unemployed at the time?
Yes.
Okay. And how long were you unemployed for?
Oh, I honestly can't remember. It was almost that whole year.
Okay. Do you have any other children other than the 2 children before the court?
Yes, I have one son.
And how old is that son? Is that son under the age of 18?
No, he's 22.
Okay. You have no other children under the age of 18?
No.
And the arrears that I asked Mom that you owe as of March 31st, 2023, does that sound about right? Do you have any reason to disagree with that?
No.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. When I was working for Green Path, child support was being taken out of that check. Do you have any record of that?
I do believe it. The record, the pay record that we entered would have shown any and all payments that you would have made.
Okay. Well, I have made payments.
It does show that some payments, Mr. Mayfield. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No further questions, Your Honor. No further witnesses in the state witness.
What you asking for, Miss Alexander?
I'm sorry.
What you asking for?
Well, I'm asking, his current gross income is $800 a week. And I know he was making a little bit more prior to that, and that is his current income, to at least set the child support based on $800 a week and set medical support.
Hey, Mr. Mayfield, how long have you been with this company you were working for now?
4 months. I started in January.
The last payment of child support that I see on this case is December. How come you haven't been paying any child support since then?
Well, I just recently found out and was unaware that they hadn't started taking it out yet.
Oh, okay. So even though
Yeah,
you see your paycheck every week, you didn't see that they weren't taking any money out of it?
No, I didn't see it. Because we don't get I don't get a physical check stub. They normally email it or whatnot, and I just wasn't paying attention.
Okay. For the record, Mr. Mayfield, is it your responsibility to pay the child support, or is it the state's responsibility to take it from you?
It's my responsibility to pay it.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page in regards to that issue, okay? I mean, you switch jobs, Mr. Mayfield. You need to make sure that when you switch jobs, your new employer is aware that there's a garnishment order for child support for you, okay?
Okay.
Because just in the 4 months that you have not been paying child support, you got another $3,000 behind in child support. Okay.
Understood.
All right.
Okay.
Ms. Richards, do you have any questions or comments about this case before I make a ruling?
I actually don't. I don't.
All right. Mr. Mayfield, you got any questions or comments about this case before I make a ruling?
I don't.
The court's going to find the court has jurisdiction. The court's going to find that there has been a material substantial change to circumstance. The child support in this case needs to be adjusted. I'm going to order that as of May the 1st, 2023, Mr. Mayfield's child support is going to be increased to $700 per month. His child support, his medical support is also going to be increased to $125 a month. Ms. Richards will be ordered to maintain the health insurance that she has on the children. I'll grant the judgment according to the pay record that's been submitted and find that as of March 31st of 2023, Mr. Mayfield's behind in the child support the amount of $20,551.58, and his medical support the amount of $784.84. The child support is going to be paid back at a rate of an additional $125 per month. The medical support will be paid back at a rate of $10 a month. Those payments will also begin May the 1st of 2023. And Mr. Mayfield will be responsible for court costs, but I'll give him until October 31st of 2023 to pay my court cost. Ms. Alexander, did the state of Texas hear all the terms and conditions of my court order?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Mayfield and Ms. Richards, what's going to happen now is that Ms. Alexander is going to send me a proposed court order. If it matches what I ordered here today, I'm going to sign it, get it back to them, and then they're going to make a copy of it and send it to each of you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Ms. LaFleur, you may need to find someplace a little more quiet, okay?
Okay, I'm trying. I'm at work.
I know. You're okay. I'll give you a minute to try to find someplace quiet, all right? In this case for state.
I am, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. LaFleur, the state of Texas has filed a lawsuit in regards to the child, Thomas Henry. Are you ready to go forward on this suit today?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lindsay, are you and your client ready to go forward today?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Lindsay, I'm going to ask you, there was an answer filed in this case in which you objected to me hearing this case. Do you waive that objection?
Yes, Your Honor. So I'm sorry, Judge. That was inadvertent.
Oh, that's okay. Lindsay, don't ever be offended. Don't ever worry about offending me. That's your absolute right to object to an associate judge hearing your case. I'm never offended if people exercise their rights, sir.
Sorry about that, Judge. No, you're
That's
good.
okay.
Cases, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Alexander, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, just up front as well, Miss Reagan, that's her nickname. Her name is actually Nan. So that we do have the DNA testing, which has been done, and the state would like to enter the DNA testing results as Exhibit 1.
Ms. LaFleur, I've just placed on the screen a copy of the alleged DNA test results for the child. Do you have any objection to me seeing these results?
No.
Mr. Lindsay, do you have any objection?
No, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit A is admitted into evidence. Based on the admission into evidence of State's Exhibit A, the court's going to find that DNA testing has been completed for this child. And based on the admission into evidence of those tests, I'm going to find that Mr. Pollard is the biological and now the legal father of the child. Yes, ma'am.
The parties do have an agreement, a partial agreement.
Okay.
As to mom is going to be the sole managing conservator with no geographical restriction. Mr. Pollard is not wanting visits. The child is almost 16 years old. And he understands that he'll allow the child when he's an adult to make those decisions. So he's not wanting any visits, and mom is in agreement. The child's last name is going to remain the same. So the only issues before the court is current child support, current medical support, and any retro child support. Is that my understanding, Barrett?
That's correct. Yes.
And mom, that's our agreement as to the conservatorship, the visits, the last name of the child.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. The state would call Miss Delaney, and Reagan, that just happens to be a nickname for you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as you heard, we've got some agreements as to certain things, but it's just the child support and the medical support and retro. How is Thomas covered with health insurance?
He gets Medicaid right now, but he gets dental through my job.
Okay. And are you asking for current child support to be set based on guideline support?
Yes.
Okay. Are you asking for back child support?
Yes.
And how far are you asking for back child support to go back?
Just a year.
And when, is there a specific date? Is there a specific reason that you want to?
Actually reached out to Mr. Pollard in 2020, but I'm not gonna go back that far. I guess from whenever the paternity test was done.
Okay.
I can't remember what date it was.
Was the paternity test done around about April of last year?
Believe so.
Okay, and you're asking for the retro to go back that far, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, call your next witness.
The state would call Mr. Pollard. Okay, and where do you currently work?
LSJ Trucking,
Okay, and how much do you make?
$23 an hour.
Do you have a recent pay stub that stated as of April 1st, 2023, your year-to-date was $17,106.25?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you happen to have your W-2 from 2022?
No, ma'am.
Do you know how much you made in 2022?
No, not right offhand, no.
Okay. Have you not filed your taxes yet?
No, ma'am. I have.
And how long have you been with this company?
I've been with LSJ now since 2019.
Okay. And you said you make $23 an hour. How many hours do you usually work a week?
Usually 32 to 40.
22 to 40 hours. Do you do any overtime at all?
We have had overtime before when we worked with the contract with the city of Beaumont.
When was the last time you did any overtime?
About a month ago. And they tried to minimum it to like 10 hours.
And approximately how much overtime do you think you've done this year?
Maybe 37, 40 hours.
Okay. And do you get paid weekly?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much do you normally bring home weekly?
Usually about $882.
And that's weekly?
Yes, ma'am. That's after taxes and child support.
Well, that's after child support.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how much is that child support payment that you're paying? How much comes out weekly?
I pay $87.92 a week.
Okay. How many other children do you have other than Thomas?
Me, ma'am?
Yes. How many other children?
I have three in total.
Okay, how many of those? So you have 2 other children other than Thomas?
Correct. I have
Okay.
3 kids in total, plus him makes 4.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I have 2 girls and I have 2 boys, which would be Thomas and my son, my oldest son.
Okay, and how many of those other children are under the age of 18?
Just 1, ma'am.
Just 1, okay. And do you happen to have health insurance available through your employer?
No, ma'am, I can't afford it. It's $297 a week.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Call you next. Oh, you know, that's very bad of me, Mr. Lindsay. I'm a little flustered this morning, Mr. Lindsay, just so you understand. There was some hectic personal stuff going on before I got here, so I apologize. 1 second, Miss Alexander. Previously, Miss Alexander had called Miss LaFleur to testify. I did not give Mr. Lindsay an opportunity to cross-examine. Mr. Lindsay, do you wish to cross-examine Miss LaFleur now, or do you wish to wait till you put on your case in chief?
I'll go ahead and do it now, Your Honor.
Go ahead. Miss LaFleur, you're back on the stand, and I apologize to the parties.
Okay.
No worries, Judge. So Miss LaFleur, this child's name is Thomas. Would you agree with me that for the last 15 years, Mr. Pollard here has had no reason to know that Thomas is his child?
When me and Mr. Pollard met, first off, it was just kind of a first night, one night stand type thing. I'm quite sure he knew what he did. You know, we did lose contact, but I was getting word of mouth that he was coming around like my mom's house and my aunt's house, which I wasn't worried about that. I ended up going through some things and I couldn't contact anybody. So in 2020, that's when I contacted him to let him know, you know, that you do possibly have a son. You know, I felt like I went about it the right way, but Mr. Pollard know what we did.
I'm so sorry. It sounded like you said you felt like you did it the right way. So like waiting till this kid was 14, that was the right way to do it?
No, it really wasn't. Excuse
so
me,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
go ahead.
You'd agree with me then, based on your answer, that my client had no reason to know that Thomas was his child, right?
Correct, before 2020, correct.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your witness, Miss Alexander.
Oh, no further questions, Your Honor.
Uh, so I believe, Miss Alexander, that you were still questioning Mr. Pollard. Is that correct?
The state had, I finished questioning, Mr. Pollard.
Your witness, Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Pollard, is it your position you had no reason to know that Thomas was your child?
No, I didn't.
Is naming a kid junior a pretty good indication of who dad is normally?
Can I speak on it?
No, ma'am, you cannot.
Okay,
And if you meet Thomas Hall, generally speaking, you're going to assume Thomas is the father, right?
Yes,
All right. You are asking the court to do less than guideline child support today, is that right?
yes,
Is part of the reason for that mom has essentially destroyed any chance you have of having a relationship with this child?
yes,
Had you known that this was are you involved in your other kids' lives?
definitely.
See, your daughter's the only one currently under 18. You're exercising all your visits,
Yes,
current pay and child support.
yes,
In all respects, you, at least, you think you're a good dad, right?
yes,
But in your opinion, that ship has kind of sailed with Thomas.
correct.
You're willing, able, you want to leave the door open for him to approach you, perhaps when he's an adult, maybe later in life.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes,
And is that part of the reason that you don't think that a full child support is really fair on this child, because you've missed out on 16 years, which, essentially means you're missing out on a lifetime of being a dad.
correct.
Also, since this popped up when the child was 16 years old, you really had no opportunity to budget. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
Based on your current income and expenses, you and I did the math together, or I did the math. 17.5% of your income is somewhere around $800. Could you afford to pay that?
no,
You're currently paying $950 in rent,
yes,
$730 truck,
yes,
$320 grocery,
yes,
$315 vehicle insurance,
yes,
$186 electricity,
yes,
$70 for internet,
yes,
and $380 in child support.
yes,
And so that alone totals $3,000 a month, and we haven't even talked about gas in your vehicle, whether or not you have cable, entertainment, out to eat, any of those other reasonable necessary living expenses. Is that fair to say?
yes,
Are you asking the court to enter an order of $250 a month for child support?
yes,
You understand that that's a significant difference from guidelines.
yes,
But again, part of that reason is because in the alternative, are you asking the court to consider child support equal to the amount you currently pay on your daughter,
yes,
which is about $380.99 a month?
yes,
Entering child support anywhere near $800 a month is just not doable, not feasible.
yes,
Are you asking the court for zero back to child support?
yes,
Why is that?
because I'm already been taken away 14, 15 years away, and nobody took the consideration of, hey, let's get in contact with him. You already deprived me of him already. So I think the court should have a language on me that I did not have any knowledge, and let's go forward from here.
As we sit here today, it's April 6, 2023. Are you asking that your child support, whatever that amount is, it begin May 1st?
Yes,
Are you asking that the court sign off on an order of $50 a month for medical support? Are you asking for $50 a month medical support?
yes,
Is part of the reason for that the affordability?
yes,
Are you asking the medical support also start May 1st?
yes,
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your witness, Miss Alexander.
The state will call Ms. Swallow. And where do you currently work?
For the Office of Attorney General, Child Support Division,
How many years have you been there?
29 years.
And what are part of your duties?
Part of my duties are confirming income and verifying child support amounts.
And did you find any income information as it relates to Mr. Pollard?
Yes, I did.
Did you find any as it relates to 2022?
Yes, I did.
Did you find anything as to all 4 quarters of 2022?
Yes, I did.
And how much was that?
Let's see. Well, for the fourth quarter, it's $13,712. The third quarter, $14,639. The second quarter, $16,404, and the first quarter, $15,243.
I'm sorry, what was that last one?
$15,243.
You know what that total amount is?
I can see. $59,998.
And how much is that approximately in monthly gross?
$4,999.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor. Oh, no further questions.
Your witness, Mr. Lindsay.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Alexander, you may call your next witness.
No, the state has no further witnesses, Your Honor.
So the state rests.
Yes, the state rests.
Your case, Mr. Lindsay.
Nothing further, Your Honor. We rest.
Am I able to ask a question?
You may. Would you like to ask a question of?
Mr. Pollard, and also to all of y'all, so I can get some clarification.
Well, you can't ask questions of all of us. But you're allowed to ask Mr. Pollard a question, and then I'll let you ask me a question. How's that?
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Pollard, I understand that you did find out about your son late, but do you really feel that waiting until he's 18 for him to make the decision, which you know that he's been trying to reach out to you? I've been trying to reach out to you to be in his life and to conversate, communicate with him. Since so much time has already passed, do you really feel like it's right to wait until he's 18 to communicate with him?
Can I answer the question, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. You are definitely going to have to answer that question.
You are still under oath, sir.
My biggest problem was when we talked about this, when you first came and told me about the young man, and I was told you it wasn't even a week. I had to go to court with him to many rounds. Okay, how long was it? I don't want to be.
No.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Stop. Ms. LaFleur, stop. When you hear me say no and stop, that means no and stop. Okay. This is not a you guys talking to each other. This is you answering questions of him, giving him a chance to answer, and then asking your next question. He doesn't get to ask you a question for clarification. You've asked him the question. He's answered the question. Do you have any other questions, Ms. LaFleur? Of Mr. Pollard?
No, that's it.
That's okay, because that was a great question. Ms. LaFleur, did you have a question of the court?
It was kind of all mixed together. I guess it was, I don't know.
No, it was a great question. It was a great question because it was a question I was going to ask. All right. I do have some questions. So, Mr. Pollard, the DNA test was completed in April. When did you actually get your copy of the DNA test results, Mr. Pollard?
December the 14th.
Mr. Lindsay, when did your office receive its copy of the DNA test result?
I was just hired about 2 weeks ago, Judge.
So okay. Ms. Alexander, why did Mr. Pollard not get the DNA results for 6 months?
I apologize, Your Honor. I do not know about that.
That's a problem. Okay.
But if I may, Your Honor, I believe the the DNA testing results was attached to the petition.
Yes, sir. And I was just about to ask the court to take judicial notice that it's filed, that the petition was filed August 24th, 2022. And it looked like the notice was delivered to Mr. Pollard December 14th, 2022.
That's probably when he got them. Okay.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. All right. So, Mr. Pollard, you said that there was a question that Miss Alexander asked that was too quick for me to keep up with the notes. There was $17,000 that has been made so far in the year 2023. What is the as of date of that check?
4/1/2023.
All right, so that $17,000 is what you've made for the first 3 months of 2023?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will also stipulate to the court, Miss Alexander and I did the math, and in addition to being 3 months, it's a nice round 13 weeks. So for his projected annual pay, court can multiply by 4.
Miss Alexander, does the state have any other questions or witnesses?
No other questions and no other witnesses, Your Honor.
Mr. Lindsay, do you and your client have any questions or comments?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Ms. LaFleur, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
No.
Well, look, y'all, I do appreciate your honesty. You were all honest as far as what you thought in concerns of what was the best interest of this child. And I do appreciate the agreement that y'all made. Look, as far as the visitation for this child, I can't do an order, y'all, that says no visitation. That's a violation of about 15 different case laws that I'm aware of in the state of Texas. So, but I will do as mutually agreed to by the parties. Is that acceptable, Mr. Lindsay?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Miss Alexander, is that acceptable with you?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Miss LaFleur, is that acceptable with you?
Yes.
All right. I mean, if y'all don't agree to visitation, then you just don't get any, but at least there's some avenue of getting visitation rights if that's what y'all want to do. But just to do an order that says no visitation, that's a bad order, and I'm not going to do it. All right. This is going to be the order of the court. I'm going to find that the parties have agreed to Miss LaFleur being the sole managed conservator of the child. Mr. Pollard will be a possessory conservator. Visitation will be at any and all times mutually agreed to by the parties, and that alone. There will be no domicile restriction in this case. The parties have waived that. I'm going to order the mother to maintain the health insurance that she has on the child at this time. Mr. Pollard is going to pay child support as per his income. Child support in this case is going to be $710 a month, plus an additional $100 a month in cash medical. Those payments will begin May the 1st of 2023. I am going to grant retroactive child support, but it's only going to be since the date that Mr. Pollard received the DNA results. $2,840 of retroactive child support. That'll be paid back at a rate of $30 a month each and every month till paid in full. Mr. Pollard will be responsible for court costs. I'll give him until October 31st of 2023. There will be no name change on the child. Miss Alexander, does that take care of all the terms, conditions of the issues and remedies the state of Texas has requested in its pleadings today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Not. Do you have any questions, Miss Alexander, as to the form of the court order?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Lindsay, do you wish to sign and review the court order before my signature?
Yes, Your Honor. And just the only other thing I did need or want to make clear for the record is I just did the easy math. The record indicates he was served December 14th. The court's retroactive support would begin January 1st, January, February, March, April, 4 months, $710 a month.
That's what I got.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
So Mr. Lindsay said that he wishes to review and sign. Mr. Lindsay, do you see any reason why I'm going to need a motion to enter hearing on this case? Do you believe you and Miss Alexander be able to make sure that the form is correct?
I understand the court's order. Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right. So I won't do a motion to enter hearing on this case. Miss Alexander, Mr. Lindsay, you both know you have the right to ask for a motion to enter hearing. If you wish to have one, just make sure you probably get that process as quickly as you can. Miss LaFleur, you are unrepresented in this case. What's going to happen now is that Miss Alexander's office is going to prepare a proposed court order. They're going to send it to Mr. Lindsay to make sure that it matches the form as to what I said today. And if he says it does, and he agrees that it does match what I said, he and Miss Alexander are going to sign it, and then they're going to email it to me, and I'm going to sign it. and then I'll get it back to them. They'll make copies of it and send it to everybody, okay? All right. Now, Mr. Lindsay is perfectly aware of this, but Ms. LaFleur, you need to understand that you don't have to be satisfied with my ruling today. If you're dissatisfied with any part of my ruling, you have a right to appeal my decision. Your appeal has to be in writing, and it has to be filed in the district clerk's office in Jefferson County within the next 3 business days. Now, I don't know if they're open tomorrow for a fact, but just consider Friday to be a business day. If you decide to file your appeal, make sure it's specific. You got to tell the referring court what part of my ruling you disagree with, and you're also responsible for sending a copy of that written appeal to all the non-appealing parties in the case. Okay, Ms. LaFleur?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Alexander, Ms. LaFleur, Mr. Lindsay, I appreciate